Welcome back to High Stakes. Elevate your game by subscribing to our channel so you never miss our daily content. For exclusive access to our premium betting picks, join our Patreon. Find the link in the comments section below. Stay ahead with High Stakes. Indianapolis Colts versus Cincinnati Bengals. Indianapolis got on the board first, but the defense allowed 27 points between the second and third quarters. The Colts were led by Sam Ehlinger through the air, and he completed 5 out of 6 throws but tossed an INT. Rookie Jason Bean threw for a touchdown and added 24 yards on the ground. The defense allowed over 400 yards but forced 3 turnovers. Indianapolis was quickly without rookie QB Anthony Richardson last season, so the QB carousel began. Ehlinger and Bean have been duking it out to see who will land the second spot on the roster. Looking at the Colts in the preseason, they are averaging 25.5 points per game, which is amongst the highest for all teams this preseason. They have been able to get going on the ground, with over 130 yards per game on average. This has opened up the passing game and allowed the young slingers to have more time in the pocket. Looking at the Colts last season, they struggled to move the sticks on third down and finished in the bottom 5 of the NFL. Red zone trips were often unsuccessful as well. Given their success on the ground in the preseason and their top 10 posting in 2023 as far as rushing attempts, we should expect the ground attack to lead the charge here, again. On the defensive end of the field, Indianapolis allowed 24.4 points per game, which landed them at 28th in the league. The Colts did well to get off the field on third downs last season and finished 10th in opponent third down conversion rate. While they fell into the bottom half of the league in opponent red zone success, Indianapolis continued to stuff the run all season. That being said, the defense has not shown out in the preseason. The Colts are allowing 23.5 points per game and opponents are logging over 130 yards on the ground per contest. After finishing 4th in sack rate last season, the pass rush has been soft over the first 2 preseason contests, which has opened up big plays downfield. The Bengals failed to muster 300 yards of offense as they fell to Tampa Bay 17-14. Logan Woodside led Cincinnati through the air and he finished with 149 yards and a touchdown. The defense tallied 3 sacks and an interception. Joe Burrow logged a touchdown in his first game-time action since his wrist injury. The Bengals finished last season averaging 21.5 points per game, which was good for 16th in the NFL. This preseason, they've been putting up 8.5 points per game. Given it is preseason, this isn't entirely concerning for the regular season. However, it speaks to the potential lack of depth on the Bengals roster. The Bengals are tallying under 60 yards on the ground per game, and the air attack, led by Woodside, is putting up around 160 passing yards per contest. The Bengals found success in the red zone last season, so if they can move the ball inside the 20s, they should be able to find success again. The challenge lies in Cincinnati's ability to move the chains on third down, which has been a problem thus far. Cincinnati's defense is allowing 22 points per game this season, which is right on par with last season's 22.6, which yielded them 22nd in the league. While the run defense allows upwards of 110 yards per game, Cincinnati's pass defense is susceptible to the long ball, giving up nearly 240 air yards per game this preseason. This is on pace for last season as the Bengals finished last in the league in yards allowed per play, with opponents tallying over 6 yards per play. Again, this stemmed largely from chunk plays as opponents were able to break big gains regularly. Given Cincinnati has struggled to get off the field on third downs, the ability to assert pressure in the backfield will be key. Both Ehlinger and Bean have shown they can carry their weight in the preseason, and that only provides strength for the Colts offense. Given the Bengals' inability to stop big plays, the dual threat component of Bean could prove a big worry here. The Bengals just want to get out of there without major injuries. Along with that, the Colts defense did a great job getting into the backfield last season, which should put further pressure on Bengals' offense. My team pick is Indianapolis minus 6.5 points. Even if the Bengals' offense continues to be slow out of the gate, it will be hard to have much confidence in their ability to put points on the board. Half of their points last week came from first-team reps, and we shouldn't expect them to see similar action here. The Colts have thrived on the ground, and that will likely be their preferred method of attack here as well, eating into clock. Both defenses were serviceable in the red zone last season, and we should expect to see similar stands here. My total pick is under 35.5 points. Chicago Bears versus Kansas City Chiefs. The Chicago Bears are traveling to Kansas City after another win last Saturday against the Cincinnati Bengals with a final score of 27-3. This would be the Bears' third win as they remain undefeated heading into their final week of the preseason. The Bears have shown productivity on offense and defense this preseason with many standout players. On defense, we saw the new Chicago linebacker Amen Agbongbemiga get 9 tackles, 1 sack, and 1 interception in his 3 games played. Another linebacker who has also been creating waves for the Bears this preseason is Daniel Hardy, who managed 6 tackles and 3.5 sacks during his 3 games played. On offense, of course, we have to talk about the first overall draft pick Caleb Williams. Williams in his first preseason managed 10 completions on 20 attempts with 170 yards and 1 rushing touchdown in the 2 games he played. Last week, we saw Williams play the entire first half of the game versus the Cincinnati Bengals, where he went 6/13 with 75 yards and a rushing touchdown. So far this preseason, a quarterback has yet to throw an interception for the Bears. Last week against the Bengals, the Bears had a total of 209 passing yards, 90 rushing yards, and averaged 6 yards per play. Chicago is also proud to post a clean sheet when it comes to turnovers. Something they are not so proud of last week was their third down conversion rate, which sat at only 20%, going 2 out of 10 attempting to convert on third down. Despite this, the offense did manage to score 27 points against Cincinnati, which was largely helped by quarterback Tyson Bagent. Bagent this preseason has played well while Caleb Williams has been on the sidelines. Bagent has 14 completions on 19 attempts with 2 passing touchdowns in the 3 games he played. This would give Bagent a 73.7% completion percentage, which will likely give him a good chance at the number 2 spot behind Caleb Williams come the regular season. Going into the final game of the preseason, it appears that Coach Eberflus will be sitting a good amount of the starters to keep them healthy for Week 1 after playing a game 5 days prior. The Kansas City Chiefs find another loss on Saturday against the Detroit Lions with a final score of 24-23. This would be their second loss of the preseason as they go into Week 3 without a win. Kansas City would like to pick up 1 win before Week 1 of the regular season. Last week we saw the defending Super Bowl champs find a close loss against the Detroit Lions. Patrick Mahomes and a few starters were in this game, but it would not be enough to get them the win. Mahomes on Saturday had 8 completions on 14 attempts with 93 passing yards. Backup quarterback Chris Oladipo played well in his appearance against the Lions, sporting 6 completions on 7 attempts for 99 passing yards and 1 passing touchdown. In his first preseason game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, he managed several completions on 10 attempts for 85 yards. Of the quarterbacks, I believe he will be more likely to get the backup position behind Mahomes as opposed to Carson Wentz, who went 5 out of 10 in his last preseason game for only 31 yards. Kansas City coach Andy Reid stated that he will not be playing his starters on Thursday against the Chicago Bears. The Chiefs feel they do not need to improve much after winning a Super Bowl last season and have very little room for roster adds. As a result, we may not see the same fight out of the Chiefs that we will see on the other side of the field, where some of the final positions are up for grabs in Chicago. The Chiefs will be without wide receiver Marquise Brown for their season opener on September 5th against the Baltimore Ravens, and may be longer due to a dislocated shoulder during a scrimmage play in Week 1 of the NFL preseason. As much as the Chiefs want to win a game this preseason, it will be hard facing a Chicago Bears team motivated to go undefeated. Neither team will be playing their starters, so it is going to come down to which team has the better number 2 players, and I think the Bears have the edge. There is a battle for the number 2 quarterback position behind Caleb Williams, but I believe Tyson Bagent has been slightly better, if only because of completion percentage and touchdowns. Brett Rippon will be working hard to get the second spot from Bagent, and this should lead to another one-sided affair that the Bears have had in their past 2 preseason games against the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. The defense for the Bears has also been outstanding even without the starters contributing. Chicago this preseason has a scoring margin of 81-26 and has covered this spread in all 3 games. I have to side with the Bears to cover their spread in this one. I am taking the Chicago Bears at minus 3.5 points. Both of Kansas City's preseason matches have resulted in high-scoring games, both of which covered this line of 34.5. Chicago has an over-under record of 2-1 this preseason, and while they did go under last week against the Cincinnati Bengals, I expect the Chiefs to put up more of a fight than the Bengals did. The Chiefs have allowed 588 passing yards in their 2 games so far, and if that continues to be a problem in this game, both Chicago quarterbacks will have a field day and rack up the total. I am siding with the over at 34.5 points.